Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Lauren DeLaguna. This is our first ever morning show. We don't have a great title yet, so if you have any ideas for a title for this show, please let us know. But this is going to be a morning news show where we're just going to go over some news stories that Henry and I found interesting the night before and wake up with all of you. So it's so good to see you here. I see some really familiar faces. It's nice to see you, Vanilla Pat and the Clue channel, and Nevaeh, and Aluma Tommy, and crisscrossed applesauce. And if I miss anyone, I'm sorry, but let's get started with this show. So we have several really interesting stories, but I wanted to start off with Jack Teixeira and the leaked document story. So we have a man, he is a junior airman, so meaning he just got into the Air Force. He is, I think, either like just out of basic training or still in basic training, but he was supposed to be guarding sensitive documents. And he leaked those documents. So we're going to pull up that article first. And I'm going to go ahead and read that. And I see that in back chat already. So let me just pull that up really quick. Here we go. Okay, so Jack Teixeira, what we know about the Pentagon leak suspects. So I don't want to get into it too much. Like, I don't want to read all of the details, but he's a junior airman. The FBI said that they don't have a motive and that he was in federal court for the first time Friday. He was in jumpsuit and handcuffs. He's facing 15 years behind bars. And when he went to court the other day, he could have entered a guilty plea, taking a plea, but he chose not to. And he comes from a long line of service members. His family were service members, and his dad, or I read his grandpa. Someone was also, his stepfather retired after 34 years of military service, while his mother previously worked in nonprofit organizations focused on veterans. So everyone was relatively confused as to why this person was sharing documents, but there has been motive that has been suspected, according to, from what I've seen having watched Tucker Carlson the other night, Tucker Carlson was saying that the motive was because these documents proved that United States military servicemen were on the ground in Ukraine. And not only were they on the ground in Ukraine fighting Russia, meaning that we're in a hot war with Russia, which wasn't declared by Congress and thus unconstitutional. It would also mean that our leaders have been lying about going to war, because recently they testified in front of Congress, like Lloyd Austin and General Milley, that we weren't at war with Russia. We weren't at a hot war with Russia. So the serviceman he leaks private sensitive information, right, which makes him treasonous, according to some. But then others are saying he's not treasonous. He's actually a hero, and he's actually a whistleblower. So that's where you have two sides of that coin. People are saying you put American soldiers at risk by leaking sensitive private information that you gave to the enemy, which is treasonous. And then others are saying, well, he did it to whistleblow, which is heroic. So, hey, Doug D, how much? Yes. Well, I appreciate you all being here. And let's move on to the next story. The next story I thought was really fascinating, but essentially, an AI robot is now being used to confuse people into believing that their loved ones are being abducted. So let me pull that up. Okay, so AI expert Henry Fritz, who's a professor at the University of California, Berkeley, showed how easy it can be used to clone a voice. So I'll just read the story. So this mom got the scariest phone call of her life. On the other end of the phone, she hears her daughter crying. She is crying, saying, "Mom, I messed up." Then a man gets on the line and claims he's kidnapped the 15-year-old daughter. He says, "Listen here, I have your daughter. You're not going to call anyone. You're not going to call the cops." And so then the mom, she says, "I just put the phone on mute and I started screaming for help." The kidnappers asked for $1 million before reducing it to 50 grand. But fortunately, the mom in this story, she was able to confirm that it actually wasn't her daughter. So what had happened is her voice had been duplicated by a scammer using AI. What they did was they took a speech that her daughter had made online, and they used that speech to get her voice patterns, her inflection, her tone, and then they were able to use that and create her voice, essentially the essence of her voice, use AI technology to pretend like she's being kidnapped and to scare this mom into thinking that she was kidnapped. So I went over to YouTube and I searched her name and I found the interview that you gave. So this is the interview that the daughter gave. It took me all of 5 seconds to do that. I uploaded it to a web service that I paid $5 a month for. And in about 30 seconds, I cloned your voice. I typed what I wanted you to say and it handed me back an audio file. And that whole thing took under 5 minutes to do. So that's so scary. Could you imagine what that would be like, thinking that your daughter was kidnapped, hearing her voice, like actually hearing the person that you know and love say, "I'm kidnapped, I messed up," like hearing them on the other end of the call. I wonder if there is any of that metallic sense to it, because a lot of the times when you're on the phone or when it's a machine that's talking, you can sense that it's not quite human. There's something so I wonder if there's that, or if they're able to get the technology so locked down that they don't, that you don't even hear that anymore. So I have no idea. I would love to be able to listen to that. I think that would be really interesting. Yeah. So let's move on now to the Starship test. This should be happening at any moment. And there are currently 90,000 people waiting for a Starship launch. Let me get this added to stream. Look at that, 90,000 people watching. So SpaceX is targeting as soon as Monday, April 17th at 8 a.m. Central Time. So what time? So we are currently at 6 a.m. Central Time. So it should be happening in about 2 hours. It's counting down an hour from now. For the first flight test of a fully integrated Starship and super heavy rocket from the Starbase in Texas. Starship is a fully reusable transportation system designed to carry both crew and cargo to Earth's orbit, help humanity return to the moon, and travel to Mars and beyond. With a test such as this, success is measured by how much we can learn, which will inform and improve the probability of success in the future as SpaceX rapidly advances development of Starship. To the date, SpaceX team has completed multiple suborbital flights tests of Starship's upper stage from Starbase, successfully demonstrating an unprecedented approach to the controlled flight. These flight tests have helped validate the vehicle's design, proving Starship can fly through the subsonic phase of entry before relighting its engines and flipping itself into a vertical configuration for landing. So that's pretty impressive. So typically you had a lot of waste when you were launching a rocket. You had these boosts that would fall off and they would just kind of fall into the ocean, or they would become waste. And Elon Musk is trying to make it so all of the parts are reusable and that they come back. And so you wouldn't be wasting as much, and you can land using these parts and just reuse all of the parts meant to launch the rocket for landing and other purposes. In addition to the testing of Starship's upper stage, the team has conducted numerous tests of the Super Heavy rocket, which included increasingly complex static fires that led to a full-duration 31 Raptor engine test, the largest number of simultaneous rocket engine ignitions in history. Pretty cool. The team has also constructed the world's tallest rocket launch and catch tower. I kind of do feel like, I love Elon, but I kind of do feel like he does some things just so that he could be like the biggest and the first, but that's still cool. At 146 meters or nearly 500 feet tall, the launch wheel catch tower is designed to support vehicle integration, launch, and catch the Super Heavy rocket booster. For the first flight test, the team will not attempt a vertical landing of the Starship or catch. Oh, okay. So it's not even trying to reuse the materials for the purpose that it's trying to, but it's still a good idea for future use to try to make that accessible. A live webcast of the flight will begin. Yeah. Okay. So it's supposed to begin an hour from now, and then 45 minutes after the stream starts, they're planning on taking launch. So don't forget to, what I'm going to do? I'm just going to take this link. I'm going to go ahead and put that in chat. So if any of you guys want to follow that. Hey, Squishy the cat. It is nice to see you here. Good morning, love. I put that link in chat, and I hope that you guys can go check that out and enjoy that. Yeah, so for the rest of the show, I am going to go over to a couple of other channels. So there were a couple of news channels that I wanted to check out every morning if I can. So I think we should check out CNN and then check out Fox and then NPR and just go through the list and see what they're talking about this morning. So come along with me as we go check out all of the news channels and see what everyone is talking about this morning. Okay. So yeah, I saw that this morning. I know it's an interesting crime issue. It's not like international news or anything like that, but okay. So a teenager was shot and wounded by a homeowner after mistakenly going to the wrong home to pick up his siblings in Kansas City, Missouri, police say Saturday. I believe this is the kid. Officers responded to reports of shooting on the evening of April 13th and arrived to find a teenager who had been shot by a homeowner outside of their residence, according to Kansas City police. The teen was taken to a local hospital where he was in stable condition Saturday, police say. Police learned that the teenager's parents had asked him to pick up the siblings at the address on 115th Terrace, but he accidentally went to the home on 115th Street where he was shot, according to the police. The teen was identified as 16-year-old high school junior Ralph Yarl, according to a joint statement from the civil rights attorney S. Lee Merritt and Benjamin Crump. If you don't know Benjamin Crump right away, if that name doesn't stand out to you right away, he's essentially Al Sharpton. He's the new Al Sharpton, Benjamin Crump. He is in my opinion, he's a racist and he finds racism in everything. So you can have two people have a disagreement and they have an altercation. And simply because one of them's white, one of them's black, you'll find that there has to be racism involved somehow, even if, if they could have fought over reasons having nothing to do with skin color. Okay. Who had been reinstated by the victim and his family, retained by the victim and the family. Despite the severity of his injuries and seriousness of the condition, Ralph was alive and recovering. The attorney said in a statement, the homeowner, who has not been identified, was taken into custody and placed on a 24-hour hold and released further investigation. What state did this happen in? All right, so this happens in Missouri. I'm just curious if in Missouri, stand your ground law, like what? So let's research that. So Missouri has a stand your ground law that removes the duty to retreat before using deadly force in defense of self or others. So what is he? I mean, I feel bad that this kid is going to the jail because obviously this kid is just a sweet kid who went to pick up his siblings as his parents asked, and went to the wrong house, and no one deserved to get shot. But simultaneously, the homeowner doesn't know that. The homeowner just knows it's late at night. Maybe it's late. What time is it? But it's nighttime, and somebody's trying to get into their house, and they don't know who this person is. So. Okay. Homeowner who has not been identified was taken into custody and placed in a 24-hour hold, then released pending further investigation due to the need to obtain a formal statement from the victim and to gather additional forensic evidence. Kansas City Police Chief Stacey Graves said at a news conference Sunday, under Missouri state law, a person can be held for up to 24 hours for investigation of a felony, at which time they are required to be charged or released. Graves said at the press conference, the shooting. So yeah, it looks like pending further investigation. So he wasn't charged. So the homeowner wasn't charged. And the reason he probably wasn't charged is because, like we just said. Okay, so we demand swift action from Clay County prosecutors and law enforcement to identify, arrest, and to prosecute to the full extent of the law the man responsible for this horrendous and unjustifiable shooting. The statement from the victim's attorneys read, I wonder which attorney, probably Crump, wrote this. Asked whether the shooting may have been racially motivated. Of course, that's Crump. The police chief said, the information we have now, it does not say that it was racially motivated. Shocking. So you're telling me this guy would shoot an intruder whether or not he was black, white, Hispanic, or Asian? Wow. Okay. That's still an active investigation, but a chief of police, I do not recognize the racial components of this case. Thank you. Neither do I. Okay. Graves sought to assure Kansas City community Sunday that the police department is committed to bringing justice to the case. There's a GoFundMe. I'll put the link. Might as well. He seems like a nice kid. He deserves that. There's no reason not to help him out if you want to. Yeah, so that kid would have to have been a threat. Well, they would have had to perceive the person as a threat. They wouldn't have had to actually have been a threat if the person is like breaking into your house, even if they think it's the correct house. If they're breaking into your house, why wouldn't you have the right to defend your house? Oh, I'm sorry you got timed out. Who timed you out? That's not nice. I'm sorry. Well, whoever did that, probably, Henry, bad Henry. Bad Henry. GD, it's nice to see you here. Good morning, everyone. Okay, let me move on to the next story. So I thought that was really interesting. Is this interesting? Let's check it out. Okay, so Russia claims Ukraine forces struck Belgorod region. Village in Russia's Belgorod region on the border of Ukraine was struck by Kiev forces overnight. The regional governor has claimed the village of Kraso. Oh my, look at this. Look at that name. Did you see that? There's no way I'm going to try to pronounce that. Okay, the village of this very nice name, urban district, came under fire. The armed forces of Ukraine. Local media reporting that 2 drones dropped improvised explosive devices at the local thermal power plant, citing an anonymous source. See, my problem with these stories is it's always anonymous sources. It's always government, from some governmental media outlet. I don't really like these stories. I don't find them super reliable. Okay, let's head over to Fox and see what they're talking about. Good morning. I also want to say good morning to everyone in here. Hey, the shit show. Hello, Dixie Normus, and hello, the return of Deacon Charles Anthony. It's nice to see you all. It's nice to see you, KMCK. It's good to see everyone in here. So let's see what Fox is up to. Squatter victims fed up with being landlords after being... Oh, I mean, yeah. Could you imagine? This isn't really like a news story. This has been going on for years. But squatters have all of these ridiculous...
At Schul's Home, we like to celebrate.
Where they get to destroy, they get to just live there and then claim like some sort of right to live there. I want to see the destroyed home. So this must be the house. Yeah, look at all that nastiness. Oh my gosh. That's so sad. Yeah, look at this little lady. Look at how nice she looks and how sad. Okay, property owners have fallen victim to squatters taking over the homes, are reconsidering being landlords. Patty Peoples. What a cute little old person name. Patty. You're going to take advantage of a 61-year-old lady named Patty Peoples? That's evil. Come on. Said investment properties were meant to subsidize her retirement. No. But after spending $5,000 in legal fees to remove squatters who occupied it for 34 days, oh my God. Any sort of income that I was trusting to live off for this year is diminished because of the act of stealing. They've stolen my home from me for a period of time, and they've escalated by doing almost 40 grand worth of damage. Holy cow. 2 female squatters caused $38,000 in damage. I don't know why. That was shocking that they're both female. Including smashed walls and windows, cabinet. What the fuck? Oh my God. People first discovered that squatters moved in handyman repairs in anticipation of home inspection after she showed interest okay, sorry, I did not read that well. People first discovered that squatters moved in after she sent a handyman to make repairs in anticipation of the home inspection after she showed an interested buyer the home 48 hours before. oh my gosh, can you imagine sending a handyman? Look how beautiful this home is, and then just seeing this trash. I mean, this isn't really news, but so sad, very frustrating. Okay, not really news though, but yeah. Oh yeah, this is interesting. So Chicago mayor, if you don't know, Lori Lightfoot. Thank you very much. I won't give you some of that. But if you don't know Lori Lightfoot, she is awful in my opinion. But she is the mayor of Chicago, but she recently didn't lost her reelection campaign. And but this new mayor I hear is even more the way that she is, which is crazy because like she's already pretty lenient and terrible. So it's pretty crazy. I hear the whole town is actually going to craziness. Like I'll actually find that story after this, but I hear that children are essentially taking over the streets of Chicago. Hey, Huckleberry. I don't think that's the real Huckleberry. Ian Cope Dog, nice to see you here. U-Haul. Happy Monday. Okay, let's get to it. Chicago Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson warned against the vilifying youth while condemning. Yeah, see, this is what I was talking. A chaotic teen takeover. What? Maybe we should start with this. And yeah, we'll start with this and then come back to the other one. Okay. No, I'm not. I'm not. I don't have the trucking business. Okay. Teen takeover terrorizes Chicago as hundreds of teenagers destroy property and attack tourists. What the hell? Hundreds of teenagers storm the streets of downtown Chicago, smashing car windows, attacking bystanders, and sending panicked tourists running from the sound of gunfire. Okay, where are the parents at? That's my question. A woman who identified as a Chicago native told Fox 32 as the unruly scene played out in downtown Chicago Saturday night. Holy cow. Look at all that. Large groups of teens were seen blasting music from Bluetooth speakers and roaming in front of traffic, with some of them attempting to gain access to the city's Millennium Park, which is off limits to those under 21 after certain hours, and the Downtown Art Institute. Some teens in the group began jumping up and down on cars, smashing windows, and attacking people. One woman told Fox 32 her husband was attacked from the driver's side of the vehicle and beaten after a group of teens jumped up and down on the couple's windshields. The man was taken to a local hospital for treatment. Damn. Okay, so we have all of this. Police say a 6-year-old boy was shot in the arm. Holy cow. 17-year-old boy shot in the leg. Oh my God. Teen takeover. That's pretty crazy. That is pretty crazy. So now let's see what this Chicago mayor-elect condemns teen takeover chaos, but says it's not constructive to demonize. Excuse me, sir? Excuse me. Excuse me? I have never seen kids who needed a spanking and demonizing of their behavior more than these kids. These kids need it so bad. Holy cow. Okay. Chicago Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson warned against vilifying youth while condemning a chaotic teen takeover. So we just read that craziness, and he's like, well, don't condemn it though. Well, don't condemn it, but don't demonize it. Oh. Okay. 2 teenage males, ages 16, 17, were shot while standing in the crowd. Mayhem as hundreds of people blocked traffic and fought in the streets. Both victims transported to a hospital, decent condition. In no way do I condone the destructive behavior. or destructive activity we saw in the Loop and lakefronts this weekend is unacceptable. It has no place in our city. However, it is not constructive to demonize youth who have otherwise been starved of opportunities in their own communities. Bruh, this is your community. Why is your community not providing? Okay, and I get that you're newly elected, but it's the policies that you stand for that have made the lack of opportunities in your city. Johnson, a progressive who defeated moderate. Oh, I don't know. Paul Veas. Okay. Earlier this month said in a statement Saturday, our city must work together to create spaces for youth to gather safely and responsibly under adult guidance and supervision to ensure that every part of our city remains welcome for both residents and visitors. Oh, I'm sure. Chicago police arrested 9 adults and 6 juveniles. Well, from everything we read, it was teenagers that are taking over. So maybe you should have been arresting more juveniles. A connection with, unless it was all like young teens, like 19-year-olds that are all being called adults now. A 16-year-old male was charged with unlawful use of a weapon, while 2 other suspects were charged with possession of a stolen vehicle. Most of the other arrests were for reckless conduct. Johnson and Bias went on a runoff. Okay, I don't really care. Lightfoot condemned the reckless, disrespectful, and unlawful behavior on display over the weekend while putting the onus on parents to step up. Yeah, so guys, just keep in mind, this has nothing to do with the fact that Mayor Lori was like, defund the police. It has nothing to do with the fact that she's decriminalized so many things. It has nothing to do with the fact that they just like stopped putting. It's the parents' fault. Obviously, it's the parents' fault for not reprimanding the kids better or something. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. All right. That's crazy. Okay. Well, let's check out. Well, excuse me. I was going to change it to something else, but this caught my eye.
If you have been injured in a car accident and you haven't gotten compensation.
But thank you. Massachusetts man charged in murders of dismembered people found in a storage unit. Interesting. This looks nice. This is the face of a guy. I mean, he doesn't look scary, but damn. Okay. A Massachusetts man was arrested and charged with murder after authorities discovered the dismembered bodies of 2 people inside bins in his storage unit. Not very nice. Leonid Volkov, I'm assuming a Russian, maybe, was taken into custody Saturday following an investigation in the deaths of some other people with Russian-sounding names. Holy, what is this? Kyril Shukoviklin and Pavel Kekshin. Okay. According to the Middlesex County District Attorney, the 2 men died after succumbing to stab wounds. That's impressive to stab 2 people at the same time. Like, it takes a lot of energy and to be able to fight one off. Okay, the victims were reported missing by friends and co-workers on April 9th, so both of them at the same time. On Friday, investigators executed a search warrant on a storage unit Volkov rented using one of the victims' names. The bodies of both victims were located in the storage unit inside rubber storage bins. The body of a man believed to be Shukin had been dismembered. Investigators also found bleach, rubber gloves, and items belonging to victims. The officer of the chief medical examiner ruled both cases as homicides. No crap. Shugin had been a grantor on the lease for the apartment Volkov was renting, but recently declined to be the grantor for the lease extension, which led to the suspect's eviction. Ooh, yikes. According to investigators, Volkov and Shulkin had met up and rented a U-Haul truck, and the alleged killer was driving on March 29th. Investigators also said the person believed to be the suspect was observed on video entering and leaving the victim's building in the days after the last time they were seen alive. Yikes. Police later located the U-Haul at the storage facility where the bodies were discovered. Investigators said Volkov was likely using the truck to move items from the victim's apartment to the storage facility. Volkov was charged with the murder and is expected to face additional charges in the coming days. He will be arraigned on Tuesday in a Somerville District Court. Gross. Well, I mean, they have motive, so he's a little bit in trouble. Biden bombshell. Is it a bombshell? If it's a bombshell, I say we read it. Ooh. Latest Hunter Biden bombshell. Oh my god. I do love the Hunter Biden stuff though. The computer has been epic. Good times. Good times for fun. Question, Lauren. Do you aspire to be a defense attorney or a prosecutor? I aspire to work in defense as of right now. I really like defense work. I kind of feel like being a prosecutor, I mean, it's such an important job. You need prosecutors, obviously, to make society run. But it's a little bit like shooting fish in a barrel because you get to choose who you're prosecuting. You get to choose for what charges. You get to choose everything. And then you get to choose whether or not to drop the case if it's bad. It's like not a challenge. Not that it's not a challenge, but it's absolutely a very difficult job. But you know what I mean? Like I like to be the underdog. I like to be the losing party. I don't know if that makes sense. The more likely to lose party. Joe Biden has a history. Okay. This is Fox News, so we had to keep in mind our sources. When we're looking at the lean, Joe Biden's history as a serial fabulist exceeds even today's shameful standards of habitual lying in Washington. If deceit was art, Joe would make the old masters look like amateurs. I mean, that's all just opinion and did not tell us anything to do with the story. Give me 1 second. I'm going to use the bathroom really fast, but I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Okay. So, President repeated incidents that he never discussed with Hunter, his overseas business dealings, let alone his parents, is belied by indisputable evidence that has grown essentially over time. Yet Elder Biden maintains the ludicrous charade. I don't really love the way this is written because it's just so laced with unnecessary opinion. I really just want to know what the new alleged information is. Recently, Fox News uncovered reports showing that Hunter's associates is suspected of influence peddling schemes, frequented the White House for more than 80 times when his father was vice president. A top executive in the son's now defunct investment firm logged at least 17 visits. Damn. Another partner seems to have taken up residency there with 27 appointments. I mean, that is a lot. Taking up residency is a bit, obviously, of a stretch, but it's meant to be funny. Are we to believe that they merely chatted about the weather? See, like, unnecessary. We just need the facts. Okay. I'm over Fox News. Let's head over to NPR. Hey, Diane. Hey, Project Constitution. It's nice to see you all here. Hey, Gas Controlled Rich. Okay. Yeah, see, they're talking about the SpaceX launch too. That's so exciting. Oh, wow. What's this? 4 were killed and 28 injured in shooting at a teen's birthday in Alabama. 4 people were killed and 28 others were injured. Holy cow. Some critically in a shooting at a birthday party on Saturday night in the city of Dadeville, Alabama. That's horrible. The attack took place at the Mahogany Masterpiece Dance Studio just after 10:30 p.m. local time as people gathered for a Sweet 16 celebration. By Sunday evening, law enforcement officials still have not provided any details about the motive or whether any of the suspects had been identified. This is a very fluid situation. Still trying to confirm who was in the studio building at the time of the incident. He didn't specify how many of the 28 injured were injured by gunshots or how many of those injured were in critical condition. Yeah, so you could imagine a lot of them might have been trampled or something else. Oh, that's really terrible. Smith said at least 17 ambulances responded to the scene. Some victims were treated and released from the Lake Martin Community Hospital, while several additional victims were transferred to other hospitals, including flown to trauma center in Birmingham. That's so sad. It's kind of obnoxious that we don't already have a motive, though, or any knowledge about what happened or how the shooter came in. There have been 161 mass shootings in the United States so far this year. Wow. Those are always interesting, though, like how they call certain things mass shootings and other things not mass shootings. So, okay. See, like, I don't think this is much of a story. Oregon man litters $100 bills. Okay. Some kid has depression. That's very sad, but I just don't know how it's like a national news story. Let's see. Let's see the chat. Is there any stories that you chat people have been interested in? Anything that you guys saw that you want me to read? You think it's funny? You always throw it in. Good morning, Blue Eyes. And good morning, Denizen X. I don't know what Henry's producer did to make you go oof, but hopefully it's nothing too bad. Sometimes you need to read the article, not the title, Lauren. Well, I do read the articles. That's what I'm doing this morning. I'm doing it with you guys. I'm reading the article, not just the title. But yeah. Well, we're trying to do kind of a variety show. We're going to be doing this morning show with news and then and current events, and I mean politics is always kind of involved in news, like it or not. And yeah, and then we're also going to still do our normal show with our interviews and with Law and Order and all of that stuff. Well, I'm sorry. I have one. It's a hairbrush. I know you think that I don't have one, but I do own one. Yeah. Okay. So NPR. Let's check this out. So yeah, I think we should head over to let's see what the BBC has to say. Ooh, let's read this one. Vladimir Kara-Murza, Russian opposition figure, jailed for 25 years. Interesting. Okay, so opposition activist Vladimir has been sentenced to 25 years in jail in Russia for charges linked to his criticism of the war in Ukraine. He was found guilty of treason, spreading false information about the Russian army, and being affiliated with an undesirable organization. The Russian-British former journalist and politician is the latest of several Putin opponents to have been arrested or forced to flee Russia. He has denied all the charges. Last week, he said in a statement, "I subscribe to every word that I have said. Not only do I not repent any of this, I am proud of it." Damn. Well, it doesn't sound like he denied all the charges if he's saying that. I know that the day will come when the darkness engulfing our country will clear, he added in remarks posted online. Our society will open its eyes and shudder when it realizes what crimes were committed in its name. Mr. Karamazur's 25-year sentence was the maximum sought by prosecutors and the longest sentence an opposition figure has received thus far. It took only minutes for the judge to rule on his case, a process that can sometimes take a long time in Russian courts. The judge said Mr. Kara-Murza would serve his time in a strict regime correctional colony, and that he would be fined 400,000 rubles, in other words, around $5,000. The tough sentence is a sign in today's Russia. The authorities are not only determined to silence critics, but also to neutralize anything or anyone they believe represent a threat to its political system. The BBC was not allowed access to the courthouse, and only a handful of journalists from Russian state media were allowed access. That's crazy. I mean, the same thing happens in Ukraine, though. So people are like, oh, Ukraine, it's a democracy. We fight for Ukraine. But same thing. I mean, they also have been arresting journalists and people who disagree with Zelensky. So how is it any different? Beats me. Do not know. Okay. Oh yeah, this is about that story that we read earlier. Apparently, one of the victims of the shooting incident was a football star. That's pretty crazy. 12 people die of a heat stroke at an Indian award event. 12 people have died in a heat stroke, while many others may have been admitted to the hospital after an award ceremony in India. The government-sponsored event took place on the ground under a blazing sun and lasted for several hours. Thousands of people attended Saturday's event, which is held to facilitate a prominent local activist. Many people complained of dehydration and other heat-related ailments after attending the function. Can you imagine 12 people dying? That must be so chaotic. How's that even? Okay. A city close to the hub of Mumbai, where the event was held, recorded a maximum temperature of like 100 degrees Fahrenheit. That doesn't even seem that crazy. I've been in worse. California gets hotter than 100. Arizona gets hotter than, okay. Health experts have advised people to stay out of the sun during peak heat hours. No crap. Of 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., especially during April, which is considered to be one of the hottest months in India. Photos of the event, thousands sitting directly under the sun with no roof or covering, providing any kind of shelter. Officials told the media that the refreshments had been provided at the venue, though through the day, and the booths had been set up to provide medical aid to the people. But opposition parties allege that the event was mismanaged and it should not have been held at this time of the year. Yeah. Interesting. Chief Minister called the incident unexpected and painful and announced 500,000 rupees, in other words, $6,000 as compensation to the families of each of the $6,000, $6K for the people who died. I mean, like, I guess, do they owe, I don't know, is it their fault? I mean, can you prove that they owe them any money? Like, were they technically the cause of their deaths? I mean, they didn't cause the sun to be hot. I don't know. I'd be curious. I don't know Indian law at all. I'm not sure about negligence law. So I do not know. This is interesting. What happened here? Did Fox News defame someone? Okay. Let's check this out. Oh, Dominion Voting. A long-awaited defamation case has been sought from voting technology firm against Fox News, has been delayed by a day and is now due to start on Tuesday. Dominion Voting Systems is suing TV network for $1.6 billion, I think, claiming, is that right? Does that mean 1.6 billion? Is that what that means? That seems like a lot. That seems not reasonable. That can't be right. BN must stand for British number. I don't know. Claiming it must be million. Claiming it knowingly spreads lies about the voting machines after the 2020 election. Judge ordering 24-hour postponement gave no reason, but U.S. media report Fox News is seeking to settle the case. The trial will hear from star names Fox host Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, Maria Bartiromo. Bartiromo? Should I know her? I like the Fox people. Who is this woman? I can't picture her face right now. Oh, this lady. Okay. I can totally picture her face. All right. Where did it go? Okay. are expected to testify alongside Network's chairman and CEO Rupert Murdoch. In a statement on Sunday evening, Delaware Superior Court Judge Eric Davis said not only that he would announce the 9 a.m. local time Monday, that the start of the trial would be delayed 24 hours. Citing 2 sources with knowledge on the situation, the Washington Post has reported that the Fox and Dominion representatives are scheduled to meet on Monday to see if they could come to a last-minute deal before trial begins. The BBC has reached out to Fox and Dominion for comment. The 2 sides have previously attempted and failed to come to an agreement. In December of 2022, the settlement in the case would allow for Fox to avoid having its executives and on-air personalities testify in open court. Yeah, you do want to avoid that if you can. I would imagine you wouldn't want, your stars to be exposed like that in case they say something that ruins their credibility and then ruins your show, could ruin your future business. So, yeah, I'd be scared of that. The court has already ruled that the allegations against Dominion has been proven false. Text messages, emails, sworn depositions show that many Fox, ranging from producers and journalists to higher-level executives, questioned the network's coverage of the Dominion during the election. Mr. Carlson, for example, referred to many of the theories about Dominion as absurd and insane. But you could hear a story and go, oh my God, that's insane, and not think that it's fake. Like, there's many stories where today that we read, we're like, oh my God, that's insane. But that doesn't mean that we didn't think it was real. So, I don't know. Fox's claim, or I could imagine going, oh my God, that's absurd. That doesn't mean that I don't think it actually happened. Okay. And also, that's very Tucker Carlson. Oh, that's absurd. That's very Tucker Carlson. Fox has claimed that its journalists and commentators were reporting on fraud allegations rather than endorsing them. The company's lawyers have argued that this sort of coverage is protected by the First Amendment to the United States Constitution, which guarantees the freedom of expression and press. Additionally, Fox has said that Dominion's lawsuit mischaracterizes the facts by cherry-picking sound bites, omitting key context, and mischaracterizing the record. Dominion has dismissed these arguments and said in a previous statement that the First Amendment does not shield broadcasters that knowingly or recklessly spread lies. Interesting. So, yes. Hey, Large Naturals. Thank you, Doug D. Appreciate you. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm kind of done looking at these stories. I say we go back to the Pentagon leak story. So if you weren't here earlier, we were talking about, I'll bring it up. So here's another version of the story. But this guy, he was accused of leaking documents. People are calling him a, well, it depends who you ask. Some people are calling him a hero. Other people are calling him someone who committed treason, a felon who committed treason. Just depends on who you ask. Finding the Pentagon leak suspect, how the Times identified the suspect at the center of the Pentagon leak before the authorities announced his name. Murky digital trails, starting with 4 items posted to the Russian channels on messaging app Telegram, each consisting of a photograph of a classified U.S. intelligence report. Eric Toller, a freelance reporter who works with us, noticed several similar documents had also been posted elsewhere and figured that the original source of the leaks had to come somewhere other than Telegram, but he couldn't find it. I looked. Ark said, then a tip came in. Somebody messaged him saying that a similar material had appeared on the chat chat app Discord in a channel dedicated to maps for video game Minecraft. Ark found 10 documents there, contacted the host. The host insisted that he was not the leaker and sounded terrified. A lot of people Ark encountered during this search, like a lot of people Ark encountered during the search, the host seemed to be a teenager. He explained that he had gotten the documents from a chat group called Wow Mao on Discord. There's a user named Luca who posted more than 100 images of the leaked documents. Ark then started live tweeting his research process. People sent private messages. He eventually learned that Luca was part of another. Oh my gosh. So essentially this is just how they found him out, which I find less interesting and more interested in the fact that, okay, he's accused of leaking documents. The documents are, so they prove that the United States is in war with Russia, in a hot war with Russia. It also proves that Ukraine is not doing well in the war. They're kind of losing. And if you ask anyone in our leadership, Russia is guaranteed to win eventually. So, okay. Learning, what do you think about the press being more concerned about whistleblower than the government corruption? Exactly. Like, he's revealing the fact that you lied. And then the press, like, just like you said, is like, wow, Daddy Biden, how are you going to spank him? And it's like, that's what you're concerned about, is how you're going to spank him and exposing this kid, and not about the fact that Daddy Biden lied to us about being in a flipping war. Holy cow. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. Even the press is fascist out. Is the U.S. I'm not even going to answer that last question. I don't know if the U.S. is still. I don't want to think about it that way. I try to live like Jordan Peterson says. I'm not sure if I believe in God, but I try to live as though I believe in God. So in that case, I'm trying to pray. I want to pray that. Okay. So Henry's going to play a video for us, as a CIA training video about whistleblowing. So we're gonna watch a video that Henry.
The rules matter, even in a pickup game with your friends. When you see something on the court, you say something.
Thank you. It's the same at work. At NSA, it's up to you to report what you reasonably believe to be evidence of wrongdoing using authorized channels, which include the Office of the NSA Inspector General.
Lawful whistleblowing makes the NSA better. Make the call. Let's play.
Was that saying that you should whistleblow to the government itself? So, like, in other words, don't whistleblow?
No, so there's like an official process for doing it, where you basically give them all the stuff you found and make the allegation, and then they keep it internal so they can hush it up if they need to.
You're right. Very counterintuitive. Okay. Yeah, seems extremely counterintuitive. This is Afghanistan 3.0. The CIA is trying to drain Russia's resources and distract China, true, with the conflict in Ukraine. No one cares if Ukraine loses as long as the stalemate. Fox. I mean, it's so sad thinking about all the people who are dying over nothing, literally nothing, just posturing. Alrighty. Okay, let's go on. Let's see what else we have here. Let's see what the New York Times is saying. Okay, what is this? Will we not be able to read it? Oh no, I hate this sort of stuff. Just let me read news. Yes. So with Russia's invasion of Ukraine, NATO readies for combat on its border. I kind of feel like they're giving us this headline because we all, like, last week it was, oh my gosh, it's been leaked that we're already at war. And now you're like covering it up, New York Times, by saying, oh, it looks like we're planning for war, like as if we're not already in war. Oh, very silly, very silly, very silly. Okay, let's see. Should Marjorie Taylor Greene lose her security clearance? Okay, dear MSNBC, how is that a news story headline? It's just like, should she? That's just such an opinion question. It's not a news story. How is that news? Should she lose her clearance? I don't know. Okay, let's see this Clarence Thomas stuff. I've seen it twice now. Okay, Clarence Thomas could face federal investigation over property sale. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas already faced scrutiny following a ProPublica report earlier this month that detailed years of unreported gifts from the GOP megadonor Harlan Crow. The nonprofit outlet on Thursday reported yet another questionable exchange, this time about Thomas not disclosing that Crow bought property from him. As ProPublica noted, it's the first known instance of money flowing from Crow to the Supreme Court justice, prompting calls for not only the Supreme Court, but the Justice Department to investigate. Senate Judiciary Committee member Sheldon Whitehouse, a Rhode Island Democrat, told me on Tuesday that he thought the initial Thomas revelations could be a tipping point for the Supreme Court ethics reform. Following the latest ProPublica report, Whitehouse is pushing for Attorney General Merrick Garland to investigate Thomas. Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, a government watchdog organization, I would be curious. Citizens for Responsible. I would be curious if they've ever gone after a liberal. Do they only go after conservatives? I would be curious. So let's look them up. A government watchdog organization noted Friday that under the Ethics in Government Act, the Attorney General can bring civil actions for knowingly and willfully falsifying or knowingly and willfully failing to file a report. Any information that such individual is required to report, with civil penalties up to $50,000 and the possibility of criminal sanctions as well. Let's just out of curiosity, let's look these people up. Okay, no. So legal act reports and investigation. So let's see. Donald Trump, Kushner, Doug Mastriano. Oh, that's so funny. It's all Republicans. A lot of Democrats in Washington that you think might need a little bit of looking at, but nope. These people don't see anything wrong. Democrats are all acting perfectly, but gotta investigate that Trump guy. Oh my God. Just a watch group. My Jesus. What do they refer to these people as? Citizens for Responsibility, Ethics and Watch, a government watchdog organization. So pathetic. So pathetic. It's not a government watchdog organization when you're still hung up on Trump and he's not even in office. Like, he's not, you're still TDS at its finest. Trump derangement syndrome in peak form tonight, yo. President Trump, it's nice to see you here. Yeah, I'm such a bad. Yeah, all right. You're terrible. You're terrible. Ooh. Okay. So I think the Space Launch X is going to start any minute now. So that should be really exciting. So we'll go check that out when that happens. Let's see. Yeah. Look it up on YouTube. Let's see if anything is happening.
It really helped me find.
There we go. I just hate the flipping commercials all the time. Are we not even on a commercials? This could be looking at the wrong thing. We might absolutely be looking at the wrong thing. Do. Yes, this is supposed to be okay. Let's try this. There we go. Very cool. Well, okay, I'll put that down for now. I'm then going to scroll comments. Is there any other stories that you guys were interested in that you want me to look? Oh, thank you. Appreciate you smashing that like button. The movie Maniac. Appreciate you for being here. I know I don't have YouTube Premium because I feel bad. Like I had it for a while, but then it's like I don't like Google the company. I don't want to give them money, but then it's like I'm giving them even more money by watching the ads. I think at this point, so I have no idea. I don't know what the right thing to do is. Yes, in fact, yes, I have it is. We have super chat functions if you want me to get YouTube Premium. So yes, no, I cannot, but thank you for the advice. Sounds like sound advice. Let's check out what else we could look at. So let's go back to Fox. Let's see if Fox has any. I did not think any of. It seems like just a really slow news day. The fact that they're talking about this was interesting, but not a national news story. You know what I mean? Yeah, people are like the Budweiser thing. I'm very over that. I don't think that's a big deal. Surgeon claims. Okay, orthopedic surgeon sounds off COVID vaccine.
Update your traction for a fraction of the price.
Here
at Santa Margarita
Catholic High School. That's where I went to high school. Well, I went to Laguna Beach and then okay. Anyway, orthopedic surgeon sounds off on COVID vaccine after developing career-ending condition. I've been abandoned. One orthopedic surgeon has had his career ripped away from him by developing a career-ending condition just 7 days after receiving the COVID-19 vaccine. During an appearance on Fox and Friends Weekend, Dr. Joel Wallskog shared the chilling details of how he contracted transverse myelitis, going from a completely healthy 50-year-old to a crippled, unemployed orthopedic surgeon in a matter of a week. I was completely healthy 50-year-old person with really no medical problems until about 7 days after my first, or should I say, one and only shot of Moderna that I received for December 30th, 2020. So I was completely otherwise healthy until 7 days after the shot. Dr. Wallskog shared. Campos Duffy shared her sympathies with Dr. Walskog, asking the surgeon, what happens next? Who takes responsibility for this? Dr. Walskog replied, what happens is you're abandoned. You get your shot, you do what you think is a right thing, and you kind of do your part, and then all of a sudden you're abandoned. And what I say is a lot of these people that are injured are really abandoned from the standpoint of physically, financially, and emotionally. Campos Duffy bolstered Dr. Walskog's claim, arguing that Big Pharma has not only evaded a brunt of the alleged vaccine injuries, but made billions of dollars, recognizing that victims are provided no financial support. Yikes. I mean, it's hard because I personally think the vaccine is awful and nasty in my personal opinion, but honestly, can you prove? Oof, I don't know. It's so hard with the proving of this. EC, thank you for being here. One of my biggest haters is here, so I just appreciate you coming this morning, even though you're sleepy. Appreciate it. Thank you. I think it's much less. Okay, so you're talking about like the Google. Should I pay or not? I think it's much less money to watch ads than to get the premium version, right? Like I'm giving them. I don't know. Am I making them money though by watching so many ads because I watch so much YouTube though? That's where it comes in. Or would I be giving them less by just giving them $10 a month? Yeah. All right. Isn't YouTube so anal about COVID? No, actually. So they were during 2020, but then I've actually interviewed a couple of people who have given, because this is a free speech channel, so we wanted to test, the edges of YouTube, and they have been really decent about letting us talk about the vaccine as of recently. So that is good. I think it's like $10 a month, actually. But yeah. No, YouTube's actually been really good about letting us talk about. I think it was because people were using other platforms, like people were going over to Rumble or people were going over to Kick or other places to talk about things. So they were like, oh, we're losing business, ergo, we're going to stop doing that. But they have not been cracking down on the vaccine stuff, especially as of recently. Yeah, so that is interesting. That is very interesting. I hate Pete Buttigieg. Oh, I hate this. Buttigieg points out how roads are designed and built for reasons of racial disparity. No, it's not. No, it's not. Racial disparities continue to be the focus for Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, according to recent appearances on MSNBC's Politics Nation on Saturday. MSNBC host Al Sharpton sat down with Pete Buttigieg and questioned him about his dedication to addressing inequality regarding road facilities. A lot of people don't understand, even down to road facilities, it is not equal. Al Sharpton said, oh God, I hate Al Sharpton. Y'all know who Al Sharpton is, right? He's the old Ben Crump. Ben Crump is the guy that we talked about earlier. Al Sharpton is like the OG Ben Crump. He's an attorney. He happens to be black, and then he makes everything about racism. Everything is based on racism. Even pavement is racist. Even asphalt is racist. Roads are racist. Bridges are racist. Train tracks are racist. Everything is racist. A lot of people don't understand, even down to road facilities. It's not equal. It's something that deserves more attention, which is why I'm working to bring more attention to it. I'm Pete Buttigieg. We have a crisis when it comes to roadway fatalities in America. No, you don't say. We lose about 40,000 people every year. Well, we should just outlaw driving then. Is it? Okay. It's a level that corporate, comparable to gun violence. and we see a lot of racial disparities. Black and brown Americans, tribal citizens, and rural residents are much more likely to lose their lives, whether it is in a car crash or as a pedestrian being hit by a car. How is that racism? Like, are you saying the cars can like, oh, this is a black person, so I'm just gonna like make sure when it hits this person, it's gonna hit. How is this? When you get in a car accident with someone, you're not like, oh, I'm hoping this person's Mexican and that it extra hurts. Like, how is this the logic? Okay, he continued, there are a lot of reasons related to discrimination and related to even the ways that roads are designed and built. Who has access to safe street designs that has literally everyone has access to the same streets. Is there like a white only street that I was unaware of? Have I this entire time been driving on the common streets and where all the is there a Jewish only road? Do the small hats have their own special roads too? Okay. All right. And we had to have a responsibility to act on that. Really, Pete Buttigieg. So this guy, Pete Buttigieg, you have had so many chemical spills and so many catastrophes happen under your watch as transportation secretary. You've had the plane systems go down where you were unable to have takeoff or landing for like several hours at one point under your watch. You've had a hijacking of railway systems. You've had the mass looting of all of the train stations in Los Angeles. The chemical, I mean, the number of failures under Pete Buttigieg, and then he is spending time to see if roads are racist and to see if certain people don't have access to certain roads. As long as you have a vehicle, there's no, oh, sorry, this is an Asian only road. You have to be at least 70% Hispanic to drive on this road. I have never seen that. Not in my life. Okay. What we are doing is we are reconnecting people who may have been disconnected or divided by discriminatory decisions in the past. Buttigieg said in November 2021. That helps everybody. I don't know why anybody would be against reconnecting people. Well, we are against you wasting government time and resources when we have actual problems. We don't need you solving the fake problems. We need you solving the real problems. Okay. Oh my gosh, it's just so crazy. On our nation's roads and highways, Black motorists have experienced disproportionate scrutiny and excessive force under the guise of traffic. Okay, first of all, that's the law. It has nothing to do with the way that the roads are shaped. That's the law enforcement. And you've already been saying you're already anti-police. And then I've also just seen a lot of data that that's not true, but that's its own issue. Okay, a letter reads, as Secretary of the United States Department of Transportation, we urge you to condemn the status quo of traffic enforcement and develop reforms to reduce racial inequalities. You know what you should do? Pete Buttigieg. Make everything revolving traffic enforcement artificial intelligence related. Then it can't be racist because it won't be a police officer. It'll be a machine determining if you're speeding and a machine determining if you're running red lights. And guess what? I almost guarantee the numbers of people based off race is going to turn out to be nearly the same. It has nothing to do with, it's just so funny. it's just so funny. Huh? Yeah. Driving a red car gets you more tickets. I agree. I used to have a red car, and I got a lot of tickets with that car. But I actually had to look them up recently for the bar, and one of my bar like required 10 years of tickets, and I was like, flip. I have so many tickets. But then when I looked them up, California doesn't keep record of them. They only keep records for like 3 years. So, okay. AI is racist because it only knows the information we provide. So like, I guess if the person who creates the AI is racist, then we're racist. Why aren't you looking at us? I'm looking at you. Straighten the eye directly into the camera. Yeah, so I have my computer over here, and then I have my camera over here. I don't know is that true? I don't know if that's true. Speaking of bars, you drunk girl? It's like 5:30. Could you imagine being drunk this early in the morning? Oh yeah, Alva. The best part of waking up is whiskey in my cup. So no. Okay. All right. Well, what if you don't give it access to the web? What if it's literally just internal and is the AI is just there to recognize? You don't even need AI. You could use basic machinery to just determine speed of a car or whether or not it's gone through a red light. Eye contact is very important. Eye contact. All the eye contact. Yes, thank you, Denison. Well, I hope you guys are enjoying this morning show. And I would love to hear you guys give feedback. Let us know which news stations you would like us to check out. Let's see what the Young Turks are up to. I haven't seen them in such a long time. They're so bad at their job. They're literally the worst. Let's see what they're saying. New report, Supreme Court Justice. We kind of already went over that. Temporarily restored access to abortion pills. More Supreme Court Justice stuff. Ron DeSantis. Let's read this. Well, where's the article? Is it literally just videos? Do you not? Okay. Ron DeSantis gets hit with an unexpected blow by Donald Trump's campaign showcasing the alleged DeSantis putting incident in a commercial and his unpopular policy backing. John Landoria and Brett Elric break it down on the damage report. Yeah, sounds boring. I guess they don't even have any written news. It's all video, which I find interesting. So I guess they're just talking about Clarence Thomas a lot. Let's see what's going on. Let's just see. Oh, damn. Okay, let's check this out. Okay. Fighting continued between the Sudanese army and the parliamentary forces for a second day. 4 people died in the mass shooting at a teen's birthday. Oh, well, we already read about that. I wanted to read about what the heck? This is what I wanted to read about. Okay. Fierce clashes have been reported across Sudan as fighting between rival armed factions continue to spread. Violence between the army and parliamentary group called the Raid Support Forces has continued into a third day. Nearly 100 people have been killed, a doctors union said. Wow. And one estimate puts the number injured at, wow, over 1,100. Both sides claimed to control key sites to the capital, Khartoum, where residents sheltered from explosions. There have been violence around the city's famous seat of power, the Republican Palace, and the army admits that there are clashes around its Khartoum headquarters, but says it still controls all its bases. Army airstrikes have been targeting RSF bases, some of which have been embedded in residential areas. Alarmed neighbors, Kenya, South Sudan, and Djibouti are planning on to send their presidents to help mediate the crisis. However, this is not currently possible because Khartoum airport is closed. The US, EU, and UK have called for an immediate end of the fighting. On Sunday, both sides held a temporary ceasefire to allow the wounded to be evacuated, although it has not been clear how strictly they stuck to it. Doctors warned that the situation at hospitals in Khartoum was extremely difficult, and that fighting was stopping both sides, staff and medical supplies from reaching the injured people. According to the Sudan Doctors Union, a wayward shell hit the hospital south of the capital, causing no injuries, but this has not been independently verified. Sudan State TV is now back on air and broadcasting pro-army songs and anthems after many hours without transmission. Wow. The fighting is part of a vicious power struggle within the country's military leadership, which has escalated into violence between rival factions. The two men at its center disagree over how the country should transition to civilian rule. Sudan has been run by generals since a coup overthrew the long-standing authoritarian president Omar al-Bashir in 2019. On Sunday and early Monday, the RSF claimed to occupy sites in the capital, Khartoum, such as the presidential palace and the adjoining city of Omdurman, as well as the western region of Darfur and Maror Airport in the northern country. But some accounts indicated the army has regained control of the airport, with the military saying that they were dealing with small pockets of rebels. The army previously denied that the RSF has seized key sites in the capital, and witness in the country told Reuters news agency that the army appeared to be making gains after blasting RSF bases with airstrikes. Wow, that's crazy. What a mess. What a mess. I mean, could you imagine, like, you're in a country that is being led by an authoritarian dictator, and in 2019, the military takeover, they have coup and they take over, and you're like, finally, our country's on the right path. We're gonna have a country of the people, we're gonna have a democracy, and then all of this, Residents of Khartoum have spoken of fear and panic and reported gunfire and explosions. We're scared and haven't slept we haven't slept for 24 hours because of the noise and the house shaking. Huda, a Khartoum resident, told Reuters news agency, we're worried about running out of water and food and medicine for my diabetic father. Wow. Another Khartoum resident, Khalid Kahir, told the BBC that residents could not be sure of safety anywhere. All civilians have been urged to stay at home, but that has not kept everyone safe. The fighting is between army units loyal to the de facto leader, Gen Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, and the RSF Notorious Parliamentary Force Commander by Sudan's deputy Mohammed Hamad Delgado, better known as Hemedti. Hemedti. I'm butchering these names. He said on Monday that the international community must intervene. The major sticking points are over the plans to incorporate the 100,000 strong RSF into the army and over who would lead the new force. The brief pause in the fighting on Sunday followed complaints from doctors' unions that it was difficult for medics and sick people to get to and from hospitals while the fighting was raging. Could you imagine? Oh my God. Look at that aerial view. That's terrifying. Let's see. Oh my God. So many ads. So many ads. All the ads.
Gunfire and explosions in Sudan's capital, Khartoum, as the Sudanese army clashes with paramilitary forces.
Sudanese woke up this morning to the sounds of heavy artillery and fire between the Sudanese army and the rapid support forces.
Sudan has been run by the military since a coup in 2021. The two sides are in dispute over who governs the country.
The leader of the Rapid Support Forces has been the second in command in Sudan. So it is quite a powerful outfit. It is very feared by many people in Sudan.
The electricity has been cut off in some parts of the city. I'm not sure where this is going, but it doesn't look positive.
There are still some important remaining issues that need to be dealt with.
This is the worst case scenario, I think, of what many Sudanese, and is what many Sudanese feared during this period.
Wow, that's horrific. That's horrific. It's just so crazy because, like, it looks like your average American town. It has the billboards, it has houses. I mean, like a little bit run down, a little bit deserty, but there's definitely places of Arizona that look just like that. Could you imagine if that happened here? Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah, no. Yeah. Wait, are you telling me? Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, people are people. I don't really care if they live in a desert or not. It's just sad. We do need to mind our own business. Simultaneously, we have to be more aware of what's happening in the world as well, because just world events do affect us, unfortunately. What's this? Let's check this out. Italy pushes crackdown on migrants reaching its shores. Holy cow, look at that boat. It's okay. Italy's right-wing government, blah, 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 pressed ahead with plans to crack down on migrants as they arrived by the hundreds on Monday at a Sicilian port after the Coast Guard rescue. Dozens more were taken on board a charity boat from an unseaworthy vessel operated by smugglers, while others came ashore unaided. This week, the Senate is due to take up proposed legislation put forth by the government of far-right Premier Giorgia Meloni, who aims far right. I mean, if you guys know anything, she's so pro Italy. She's just so, to call her far right is so ridiculous. She just loves Italy. She's a nationalist. She's pro she's she's conservative. She's not far right. She's not like a flipping Nazi. It just irks me. She's just very, and when she speaks, she's extremely passionate. And I guess you could say the same thing for Hitler, but she's inspiring and she was motivational, and she just wasn't extreme far right. She didn't sound extreme far right. Okay. Okay, I got distracted. Aims to make it hard. Okay, far right Premier Giorgia Meloni. That aims to make it harder for migrants to gain temporary permission to stay in Italy. Coalition ally Matteo Salvini, who lead the anti-migrant League Party, wants the country to eliminate a status known as special protection for many of the tens of thousands of migrants who have come ashore in Italy for years now aboard smugglers' boats launched from Libya, Tunisia, Turkey, or other places. The status allows migrants who are unlikely to win refugee status to stay in Italy for 2 years pending renewal. During the time, they can work legally and rent housing. Salvini claims that the possibility of special protection acts as a pull factor to encourage migrants to leave their homelands in Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. Many of the migrants are fleeing poverty or lack of decent jobs in sub-Saharan Africa, Northern Africa, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Egypt. While Meloni has said she would like to see the status eliminated, lawmakers and other coalition party, Silvio Berlusconi's conservative Forza Italia, have indicated that they could push for the time to be slashed from 2 years to 6 months. Okay, so have some protection, but not have it last for 2 years, have it only last for 6 months. It's not so much a question of the numbers, but sending a signal of severity that we want to give. Marzio Gaspari, a prominent Forza Italia senator, was quoted as saying in the Corriere della Sera on Monday, the number of migrants arriving this spring has risen relentlessly. A Coast Guard boat with about 200 migrants aboard pulled into the harbor of Catania, Sicily, earlier Monday. They were among some 600 migrants, holy cow, rescued by the Coast Guard during the weekend in Malta's search and rescue sector of the Mediterranean. For years, humanitarian groups have lamented the Maltese authorities often ignore distress calls from floundering migrant vessels. Yikes. Could you imagine often ignoring distress? Could you imagine ignoring a distress call? What that would sound like? Like, help, I'm dying. Oh, ignore. Okay. The others arrived in Catania late Sunday night aboard a vessel operated by Frontex, the European Union's border protection agency. So a lot of migrants coming in. Wow. Roughly 33,000 migrants have arrived year to date compared to, holy cow, compared to 8,500 in the same time period the last 2 years. That's almost 4 times. Is it 3? Yeah, it's 3 times. It's over 3 times the amount of, holy cow. That's crazy. Could you imagine the number of migrants tripling? I mean, United States definitely understands that. Tricia Bennett, I don't think I've ever seen you before. Welcome. I have a ex who has a sister named Tia Bennett. So, all right. What is the general climate of viewers and hosts regarding political ideas? Me? Oh, okay. Great question, Tricia. I'm very honest about my bias. I personally am a conservative, but we love having liberals here. We interview liberals. We want to hear all viewpoints. We definitely want to be rounded out. We definitely want to be challenged here. If you have any disagreements with me, we would love to hear it. I am all for legal immigration. The threat, though, to American citizens is upsetting me. Facts. This is Italy, not America, that we were talking about. But yeah, let's check out the American border. Why don't we see? Okay, let's see. Mexico border. Let's see what's going on in the news. Okay. For a third consecutive day, Central and South American migrants show up by the hundreds at the border wall in El Paso, Texas. Hopefully the Biden administration will listen to their pleas for asylum. Some got off trains south of Juarez, Mexico on Thursday morning and walked 3 to 4 hours until they reached the Rio Grande with their children in tow. Others have been in Juarez for several weeks and unable to get appointments through this CBP1 app. If you don't know this, have you guys heard this? There's now an application. I'll look for that. You know what? That's what we're going to do. We're going to look this up. Application. Hold on. For my friends. Yeah, check this out. How crazy is this? Migrants can now use mobile app to request entry to U.S. border. What? We don't need to make it easier. We do not need to make it easier. Where are you? Let's read this shit. Okay. Migrants can now use mobile app to request entry at U.S. border. Migrants rest outside of Seglio XX Migrant Detention Center as they seek humanitarian visas. Okay. Migrants seeking asylum at the U.S.-Mexican border can now use a mobile app to schedule a time to approach a land port of entry. U.S. Customs and Border Protection confirmed on Thursday a move intended to reduce unauthorized crossings, but which has sparked concerns over privacy and access. The app, called CBP1, is available in English and Spanish. Okay. It should be available in Spanish and Chinese, if we're being real. Very few people coming into our country right now speak English. Okay, is available in English and Spanish and will allow migrants in central and northern Mexico who upload biographical information and a photo to request an appointment at one of 8 ports in Texas, Arizona, and California, according to the fact sheet. The administration has announced it would expand its use of this CBP1, giving asylum seekers direct access to enter their information as a pre-screening step before an appointment. Launched in 2020. Wow, this thing was launched in 2020. We didn't really know about it until 2023. The app has previously been used to allow people crossing legally at land ports of entry to submit their information beforehand and non-governmental officials to request humanitarian entry for certain migrants. U.S. President Joe Biden's administration touts the app as a more regulated, potentially quicker alternative for crossing the border. But advocates worry asylum seekers will be required to submit personal information without being guaranteed entry, and that some, is that really our concerns? That's not my concern. And that some may not have access to a cell phone or internet. Oh no, these are not my concerns with the app. I have other concerns about the app. The app rollout comes after Biden last week announced his administration would expand COVID-era Title 42 restrictions to quickly expel Cuban, Haitians, and Nicaraguans who cross the border back to Mexico, while opening up legal pathways for those who have U.S. sponsors and entered by air. Interesting. I find it funny that the Bidens are like, anyone welcome, come through the border, we'll put you on secret planes, we'll fly you wherever you want, but you're Cuban, you're a Haitian, you're Nicaraguan, you might be against, I'm surprised Venezuela isn't on the list as well, you might be against socialism, and therefore you might vote Republican if you ever become a citizen. Your ass is being Title 42 away from here. We don't need you types of Hispanics. We only want the Hispanic people that we believe are going to vote Democrat. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. They're like, we're so anti-racist. It's the Republicans who are racist. Unless it's the type of Hispanic that we think is going to vote Republican, then F those Hispanics. It's just hysterical. It is just funny. Well, we are wrapping it up soon. Thank you guys so much for coming to the first ever morning show. We need a better title for the morning show. So make sure that you email Henry the producer with all of your title ideas, with any news stories that you want me to cover the following day. We're going to be doing this every day, 4 a.m. my time to 6 a.m. my time. So 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is true. Lauren DeLaguna is #1. Thank you, Google Gay TV. I appreciate you being here. Appreciate everyone being here, including you, Witchy Bitchy Denizen. Oh, thank you. Red and blue are one team if you are still rooting for one or the other. I disagree, but I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. Let's check this out. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Foo for $10. Just stopping by to leave a like and say that you are the GOAT. Thank you. Last night's Southie panel visit was well done. Yes. For those of you who don't know, Michelle Goes Live had a friend on the other night. If you don't know who that is, she's just some YouTube person. And somebody pretended to be that friend last night and then slightly trolled her, and it was kind of funny. So definitely, should we check that out? Is that a good way to end it? It's somewhat comical. It's not really news related, though. So I think we're going to avoid it. But thank you. Good morning, Paige Bizzle. We are wrapping it up, but this was the first ever morning stream. And as I was telling all of you lovely folks and Trisha that we appreciate, yes, Trisha, who is a new face around here, that we are starting this morning show. It will go over the news. We'll go over any stories that you want us to go over. We're trying to get the extreme conservative side, extreme liberal side, the down the middle side, what's just the news versus what's opinion. So far, I think we can conclude that Fox has had the most heavily news that was like inundated with opinion piece that we've read thus. I mean, it was more obvious though. Fox was like, Biden's a liar, and it was very, whereas other people were like, who was it? Was it NPR? Oh, this government watchdog organization. And then you look up the government watchdog organization and it's like an anti-Trump organization. Government watchdog. Doesn't be watching the Biden family very closely, though, I'll tell you that. So funny. I'd love to listen to liberals. It makes me feel much better about my views. Well, I feel that way, and liberals should feel that way about conservatives. If they are really strong in their opinion, then they should listen to conservatives and be like, oh my God, that's so silly. What they're saying is so silly. But I tend to find, and this is just my, once again, biased opinion, I tend to find that most of the liberals that I talk to only know the liberal talking points, whereas most of the conservatives that I talk to know all the conservative talking points. and all the literal talking points because they hear them all. What do you have against Sleepy Joe? I think Grandpa is cool. I have nothing against. Okay, what do I have against? Well, I don't like that he fired the prosecutor in Ukraine. I think that's essentially the reason that that Ukraine is the base of this war right now is because it was a corrupted country and that Biden had many corrupt business dealings in Ukraine. And so there's some sort of financial aspect to this. And even if there weren't, now we'll never know because it just seems wrought with corruption. It just seems at this point. So there's no way that I could look at this Ukrainian war and be like, yeah, we're fighting for democracy because we already know, well, there's something fishy going on there with that president. And we only started this war after Biden came into office. No, but thank you for coming here. We appreciate you coming here, Lucifer. Yeah. So I think we are going to wrap this up. I appreciate you all for coming. Once again, if you have any, if you have anything that you want me to read tomorrow, if there's any stories that you want me to go over tomorrow, please, please, please email henrytheproducer@gmail.com. I'm just going to put that in chat. henrytheproducer@gmail.com. Yeah, and any show name ideas, any story ideas, anything that you need or want, just let me know and I will be doing that. Hey, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, nice to see you. Nice to see you, Rights On. Nice to see you, Bitchy Witchy. Do we have I don't know if we have an outro video. I think I'm just going to play the intro video again. All right, guys. Bye.